It was a quiet Tuesday night, until everything changed. My shift was supposed to end in 20 minutes, and I was already thinking about heading home when the call came in. Dispatch was vague. Disturbance near an old warehouse on the outskirts of town. I figured it was probably kids messing around, but I knew better than to ignore a gut feeling. So, I decided to check it out. As I approached the warehouse, something felt off. The air was too still, too quiet. Years on the force had taught me to trust my instincts. I parked a block away and decided to go in on foot. The warehouse loomed ahead, an old industrial relic, casting long shadows that seemed to move with every step I took. That's when I heard it. A faint clatter, metal on concrete, like someone knocked over a trash can. I froze, ears straining to pick up more. The noise came from inside the warehouse. My hand instinctively moved to my gun as I approached the side entrance. The door was slightly ajar. Whoever was inside didn't bother covering their tracks. I slipped through the door, heart pounding in my chest, trying to stay as quiet as possible. The warehouse was dark, with only faint moonlight filtering through the broken windows. The air smelled of rust and dampness, and I could hear my own breathing, heavy and controlled. That's when I saw him. A man, crouched near a stack of old crates. He hadn't noticed me yet, too busy rummaging through something I couldn't quite make out. I took a step closer, trying to get a better view, but the floor creaked under my weight. His head snapped up. I pulled my gun, keeping it steady. "Police, show me your hands," I barked. The man froze for a split second, then bolted deeper into the warehouse. I cursed under my breath and took off after him. My boots echoed against the cold concrete as I pursued him through the maze of rusted machinery and crumbling walls. He was fast, faster than I expected, but I wasn't going to let him get away. As I rounded a corner, I caught a glimpse of him ducking into a back room. I slowed down, listening for any sign of movement. The silence was unnerving. I carefully approached the doorway, gun raised, ready for anything. I could feel my pulse in my throat. Then I heard it, a quiet, barely audible click. It was too late. The door burst open, and I was tackled to the ground. My gun flew out of my hand, skidding across the floor as we struggled. He was stronger than he looked, wiry but powerful, and I could feel his hands clawing at my throat. I managed to get a knee up, pushing him off me just long enough to scramble for my gun. I grabbed it and spun around, but he was already on his feet, running again. "Stop," I yelled, but he was gone, disappearing into the darkness of the warehouse. I got to my feet, wiping the sweat from my forehead. My mind was racing. This wasn't some petty thief or a couple of kids messing around. This guy was dangerous, and I had underestimated him. I moved cautiously now, gun drawn, eyes scanning every shadow. The warehouse felt like it was alive, every creak and groan making me jump. I knew he was still in here somewhere, waiting for the right moment. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. He was climbing a stack of old machinery, trying to reach a window on the second floor. I aimed, took a deep breath, and fired a warning shot. The bullet hit the metal next to him, and he froze. "Don't make me do this," I shouted. He slowly turned, hands raised. All right, he said, his voice shaky. "You got me." I approached cautiously, keeping my gun trained on him. But as I got closer, something didn't feel right. He was smiling. Before I could react, the floor beneath me gave way. I fell hard, crashing into a lower level of the warehouse. Pain shot through my leg as I hit the ground. I could hear him laughing from above. "You think you can catch me?" he yelled. "You're out of your league, cop." I tried to stand, but my leg wasn't cooperating. The pain was too much. I could hear him moving above me, the sound of his boots echoing through the hollow space. He was playing with me now, like a predator with its prey, but I wasn't done yet. I forced myself to crawl, dragging my injured leg behind me. There had to be a way out of here, some way to turn the tables. As I moved, I noticed something glinting in the dim light. a rusted metal pipe. I grabbed it, using it to pull myself up, wincing in pain. Then I heard footsteps, closer this time. He was coming back for me, confident that I was down for good. I pressed myself against the wall, pipe in hand, waiting. The footsteps grew louder, closer. I held my breath, muscles tensing. As soon as he stepped into the room, I swung the pipe with every ounce of strength I had left. It connected with a sickening thud, and he crumpled to the ground, unconscious. I stood there for a moment, breathing heavily, the pipe still in my hand. My leg throbbed, but the adrenaline was enough to keep me on my feet. I reached for my radio and called for backup. When they arrived, I was leaning against the wall, bloodied but standing. They took him into custody, and as they did, he gave me one last look, a mix of hatred and respect. As they led him away, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of relief. This wasn't just another night on the job. This was the night that reminded me why I became a cop in the first place. It wasn't about the routine or the paperwork or the endless shifts. It was about moments like this, moments where you stand on the edge, facing something you didn't expect, and somehow come out the other side.